At a friend's wedding, Lila was stunned when her ex-husband, Brant, showed off his new pregnant wife and taunted Lila for not being able to have kids. Lila chose to ignore him, thinking he wasn't worth her attention. But later, after visiting the hospital for some health problems, she discovered a surprising fact that changed everything. Brant was the one who was infertile, not her. This revelation gave Lila the perfect opportunity for revenge, one far better than she had imagined. Lila spent the whole day preparing everything for her plan to confront Brant. She knew that he would never see this coming, and that only made it even more enjoyable for her. He had hurt her so many times and talked badly about her in front of others, and she had done nothing about it. But that time had passed, and she was going to take the power back now. She also looked forward to seeing the look on his wife's face. That woman probably had no idea that Lila was onto her, and she was going to reveal her big secret. She did feel a little bit guilty about meddling with their relationship, but they both deserved it. Brant for treating her like shit for so long, and Julie for lying to her husband. Lila already looked forward to seeing the absolute shock on their faces when she shared the news. It was certainly going to be a very, very eventful evening for all of them. But what was Lila's plan? How was she going to take revenge? And how would Brant and his wife react? Lila had avoided Brant as much as possible at the wedding. It was more confrontational than she had expected it would be to see him again after all those years, and his attitude only made matters worse for Lila. "Yeah, I'm finally going to be a dad," he told everyone who even looked at his pregnant wife, Julie, while occasionally shooting nasty smirks in Lila's direction. It instantly transported Lila back in time, right to the most difficult period of her life. Years ago, while she was still dating Brant, they had tried to conceive for a long time, but without success. In the end, they decided to get some tests done, and the doctors told them that Lila was infertile. It had broken her heart. And her relationship. Not long after they received the news, Brant left Lila. He told her that he loved her, but he did not want to give up his dream of becoming a father. Lila tried to talk to him about a surrogate pregnancy or even adoption, but Brant did not want to hear any of it. He had already made up his mind and packed his bags. It was done, and he was leaving. Lila had a difficult time going through the period after that, but she managed. She had processed the tough news with the support of her friends and family, and she was finally able to move on. However, it still hurt whenever she thought about it. Ever since she was little, she had dreamed of becoming a mother. And of course, her cruel ex parading around with his pregnant wife was not a pleasant reminder. Anyway, Lila tried to ignore them as much as she could. Sure, she was happy for them, but she simply didn't want to think about it for too long. Luckily, she ended up having a blast at the wedding, and she didn't fall into a depression in the days after it like she was afraid she would. She was doing just fine, actually, and things were good. Then, one day, her stomach started to hurt a little bit. The pain came and went, but whenever it returned, it only became worse. So she decided to see a doctor. She thought it was something with her gut because she had had issues with that before. They had run some tests, and now she was back in the doctor's office to hear the results. And the doctor had some unexpected news for her. Lila's mouth fell wide open as she stared at Dr. Riley, who returned her confused look with a smile. Are you sure about this?" she asked, and the doctor nodded his head. "Yes, Lila. There's no doubt about it. You are pregnant," he repeated. Lila shook her head and said, "No, that's impossible. The tests..." The doctor smiled at her. "Don't let those pregnancy tests fool you. They're not always reliable," he explained, having no idea what kind of tests Lila was actually talking about. He showed her the results of the tests they had done, and he pointed at the hormone levels, saying, "Look, here it is." Lila still couldn't believe it. She was too blown away by this news even to tell Dr. Riley about her supposed infertility, and he thought that she was just surprised because she hadn't planned on becoming pregnant at the moment. They made a new appointment for an ultrasound in a few weeks' time, and not even 10 minutes later, Lila was in her car driving home. Lila was completely blown away by this amazing news, but she was a little bit scared to believe it. She doubted whether to tell her husband, Mark, anything. Shouldn't she wait until she's had the ultrasound? That was the only way to be 100% sure that she was really pregnant, she thought. However, as soon as she saw his face when she came home, she knew that she couldn't keep this from him. Mark was an absolutely amazing man who had shown her that she was worthy of love, with or without children. You see, Lila had met Mark not long after she and Brant broke up, and once they became serious about their relationship, she told him about her infertility. She knew that she had to be honest with him, no matter how difficult it was. She was convinced that he would leave her, especially when he told her that he would have loved to have children one day. However, he said that he accepted this as a part of her, and he wanted to be with her anyway. Not long after that, they got married, and they have been happily together ever since. Following the strong foundation of their relationship, Lila finds herself bursting with a mix of excitement and nerves. She rushes to Mark, barely containing her news. The moment she reveals her pregnancy, their living room transforms. Mark, overwhelmed with happiness, sweeps Lila into an impromptu dance, their laughter echoing off the walls. This dance, spontaneous and full of joy, marks the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. The laughter fades as Mark pauses, his smile giving way to a puzzled look. Lila, sensing his confusion, goes to their home office, rummaging through drawers to find the medical documents that declared her infertile. She spreads them out on the coffee table, the words on the papers stark against the wood. Together, they pore over the documents, their confusion growing as they compare what's written to their current reality. With the documents laid bare, Lila and Mark retrace their journey through the years of trying to conceive. They recall visits to the clinic, the painful wait for results, and the final diagnosis that had seemed like a life sentence. Each document, a relic of their past struggles, now seems like a puzzle piece in a picture that's changing. They begin to question everything they thought was true about their journey. Determined to understand, Lila and Mark devise a plan. They decide to confront the doctor who had given them the infertility diagnosis. They make a list of all the questions they have, rehearsing how they will demand clarity. The evening is spent researching, finding contact information for the doctor, and discussing the best approach to take. Their determination to uncover the truth becomes a shared mission, strengthening their bond even further. As the sun sets, Lila and Mark sit together in their living room, the documents and their notes spread out before them. They're quiet, each lost in thought about the implications of the news and their next steps. The room is filled with a sense of purpose as they plan their visit to the doctor. Despite the confusion and the looming questions, there's a tangible sense of hope. They know that regardless of what the next day holds, they'll face it together, as they always have. After their reflective evening, Lila and Mark sit at their kitchen table with a laptop open between them. Lila types Dr. Dillon's name into the search bar, initiating their quest for answers. They navigate through medical review sites and news archives, clicking on articles and noting down anything that mentions Dr. Dillon's. Their focus and teamwork turn the kitchen into a command center for their investigative mission. Their search leads to surprising discoveries. Lila finds an article detailing Dr. Dillon's dismissal from a renowned clinic due to carelessness. Mark reads aloud from another piece about the doctor's professional misconduct. They exchange glances, realizing the gravity of what they're uncovering. The evidence mounts on their kitchen table as they print out articles and highlight key passages, the seriousness of their mission sinking in. As they dig deeper, Lila and Mark uncover testimonies from other patients who experience misdiagnoses under Dr. Dillon's care. They map out a timeline of these cases, identifying a pattern of errors. Working side by side, they compile these testimonies, creating a visual representation of Dr. Dillon's history of mistakes. Their dining table is cluttered with notes and highlighted documents, each piece adding to the emerging pattern. With a solid case built from their research, Lila makes a call to the clinic where Dr. Dillons used to work. She puts the phone on speaker, allowing Mark to hear as the clinic's representative confirms the mix-up in Lila's diagnosis. They scribble down notes as they talk, asking pointed questions to understand how the mistake happened. The confirmation feels like a turning point, the puzzle pieces finally fitting together. The call ends, leaving Lila and Mark in a moment of stunned silence. The confirmation of the error brings a complex mix of relief and indignation. Lila and Mark, after digesting the revelations from their investigation, consciously choose to immerse themselves in the happiness of their current situation. They plan a quiet evening at home, cooking a special meal together and decorating a small corner of their living room with baby-themed decorations. Their actions reflect a deliberate turn towards positivity, marking a celebratory start to this new phase of their life. The day of the ultrasound appointment arrives, and Lila and Mark head to the clinic, hand in hand, filled with anticipation. In the ultrasound room, they watch the monitor intently as the technician begins the scan. When the baby's heartbeat echoes through the room, their faces light up with awe. Mark records a video of the ultrasound, capturing the flickering heartbeat on his phone as a cherished memory. As they leave the ultrasound room, Lila and Mark share a look that transcends words, a mix of joy and wonder reflecting their deepening connection. They stop at a nearby cafe where they watch the video of the ultrasound repeatedly, their conversation revolving around hopes and dreams for their child. This shared experience, grounded in the miracle of their baby's heartbeat, brings them closer than ever. Back at home, Lila and Mark transform the ultrasound video into a digital keepsake, adding a heartfelt message to their future child. They decide to frame the ultrasound picture, placing it prominently on their mantelpiece. As they stand back to admire their handiwork, the significance of the moment settles in, turning the clinical ultrasound image into a beacon of joy in their home. With the ultrasound picture as a constant reminder of their impending parenthood, Lila and Mark start to prepare for the baby's arrival in earnest. They begin organizing a room for the nursery, selecting paint colors and themes. Each choice they make, from the color of the walls to the selection of a crib, is infused with excitement and anticipation for the future, marking the beginning of their adventure into parenthood. While scrolling through her social media feed, Lila stumbles upon Brant's latest post. His words, dripping with mockery about becoming a father, strike a nerve. Lila's initial shock quickly turns to anger. She takes a moment to collect herself, then screenshots the post. Mark finds her fuming and, seeing the cause, wraps an arm around her, offering silent support as they stand together in their kitchen. Lila, still fuming, sits at the kitchen table with her phone in hand, drafting various responses to Brant's post. Each draft is sharper than the last, her words fueled by a mix of hurt and anger. Mark sits beside her, offering suggestions and helping to refine her responses. Despite the rising urge to retaliate, Lila pauses with each draft, questioning the impact her words might have. After numerous drafts, Lila takes a deep breath and deletes them all. She decides that responding in anger won't bring her peace or prove her point. Instead, she turns off her phone and places it on the table, signifying her decision to rise above. Mark nods in agreement, respecting her choice. Together, they decide to focus on a more constructive way to address the situation. With a new resolve, Lila and Mark brainstorm ideas on how to confront Brant's insensitivity without sinking to his level. They gather around their living room, with notebooks and pens scattered around, mapping out different scenarios for a face-to-face confrontation. Their planning is meticulous, aiming to craft a moment that will leave a lasting impression on Brant, demonstrating their strength and dignity. As night falls, Lila's emotions continue to swirl, a mix of anger, determination, and a touch of anxiety about the confrontation ahead. She and Mark spend the evening in their home office, organizing their thoughts and planning their approach. They review everything they've prepared, ensuring their message is clear and impactful. As they head to bed, their shared resolve acts as a silent pact between them. strengthening their bond in the face of adversity. Lila, with a newfound purpose, decides to host a dinner as the platform for her revealing moment. She and Mark sit at their dining table, surrounded by notepads and open cookbooks, planning the menu and the guest list with precision. They discuss every aspect, from the seating arrangement to the timing of her announcement, ensuring the evening would unfold according to plan. The day before the dinner, Lila is a whirlwind of activity. She scrubs the house from top to bottom, arranges fresh flowers, and sets the table with their finest dinnerware. Mark assists, handling the grocery shopping and providing moral support. Together, they transform their home into a welcoming yet elegant setting, a stark contrast to the tension Lila anticipates with Brant and Julie's arrival. Lila drafts the invitation to Brant and Julie with a careful blend of cordiality and neutrality, suggesting a casual dinner to catch up. She emphasizes the desire to move past old grievances, a message crafted to ensure their attendance. Once satisfied, she sends the invite via email, then shares a significant look with Mark. It's done. The stage is set for their confrontation. In the hours leading up to the dinner, Lila and Mark's home buzzes with anticipation. Lila goes over the evening's plan in her mind, rehearsing her speech and visualizing the moment of reveal. Mark plays the supportive role, ensuring everything is in place and reminding Lila of the strength of their bond, no matter the outcome of the evening. As guests begin to arrive, Lila greets Brant and Julie with a practiced smile, guiding them into the dining room where the table is set meticulously. Each place setting, the arrangement of the silverware, and the lighting have been chosen by Lila to set the tone for the evening. With all the guests seated, the dinner commences, the air thick with unsaid words, and Lila's resolve palpable in the carefully crafted ambiance. The dinner begins with everyone exchanging pleasantries, the conversation light and devoid of the night's underlying tension. Lila and Mark work in tandem, serving dishes and refilling glasses, ensuring their guests are comfortable. Despite the casual chatter, Lila's eyes occasionally meet Mark's, sharing a silent communication about the evening's impending pivot. As the main course is served, Brant begins to weave mentions of Julie's pregnancy into the conversation, his words laced with pointed looks towards Lila. Each mention feels like a deliberate provocation, designed to unsettle. Lila, however, responds with grace, redirecting the conversation or offering polite congratulations, her demeanor unflinching in the face of Brant's thinly veiled jabs. Throughout the evening, Lila remains the picture of composure, engaging in the dinner conversation with a serene smile. Despite Brant's continued provocations, she never lets her smile falter, excusing herself only to check on the next course or to share a quick, reassuring glance with Mark. Her calmness acts as a shield, deflecting Brant's attempts to disrupt the evening's peace. As dessert is served and the final plates are placed, Lila takes a deep breath, signaling Mark with a nod. She stands, gently tapping her glass to draw attention, the room quieting down in response. With all eyes on her, Lila begins to speak, her voice steady but the slight tremble in her hands betraying her nerves. The moment of reveal has arrived, with Lila ready to share their joyous news. Holding the small envelope in her trembling hands, Lila pauses, letting the weight of the moment settle. She then carefully opens it, extracting the ultrasound picture with deliberate slowness. The room's anticipation peaks as she holds up the image for all to see, ready to unveil the tangible proof of her and Mark's upcoming joy. This act marks the culmination of the evening's carefully laid plans, setting the stage for the reactions to unfold. As Lila holds up the ultrasound picture, Brant's face contorts in a mix of disbelief and mockery. He leans forward, squinting at the image as if questioning its authenticity. His laughter, hollow and incredulous, breaks the brief silence. Lila meets his gaze steadily, the picture in her hands a silent testament to her truth. Julie, caught between her husband's disbelief and the gravity of the announcement, extends a shaky congratulation towards Lila. Her voice is low, barely audible over the tension that now threads the air. She attempts a smile, but it's strained, reflecting her discomfort and the effort it takes to maintain decorum under the scrutinizing eyes of the other guests. The room's atmosphere shifts tangibly with Lila's revelation. The guests exchange looks, their expressions a mixture of surprise, curiosity, and in some cases, delight. Conversations start to murmur around the table, a buzz of speculation and whispered analyses filling the space. Lila's news, undeniably significant, reshapes the social landscape of the evening. The guests, now fully aware of the evening's unexpected turn, navigate their reactions with care. Some offer more heartfelt congratulations to Lila, while others seem absorbed in pondering the implications of her announcement. The complexity of emotions on display ranges from genuine happiness for Lila to awkward glances exchanged over wine glasses, the undercurrents of previous tensions still palpable. Lila, standing with the ultrasound picture still in hand, feels a moment of vindication wash over her. Brant's earlier provocations, now rendered baseless, shift the evening's dynamics significantly. Her announcement, far from just personal news, serves as a powerful rebuttal to any doubt cast on her path to motherhood. The room, once filled with Brant's mockery, now buzzes with conversations that mark a turning point in the evening. In the charged silence that follows her revelation, Lila stands still, allowing the magnitude of her announcement to permeate the room. The guests, including Brant, look on, some with bated breath, others with subtle nods of respect. Lila's poise in this moment speaks louder than words, her silence a powerful assertion of her strength and resilience. Lila breaks the silence, her voice steady as she recounts the journey of discovering the misdiagnosis. She speaks of the confusion, the pain, and ultimately, the investigation that led to the truth. Her explanation is concise but impactful, leaving no room for doubt. Mark stands beside her, his hand on her back, a silent pillar of support. As Lila's story unfolds, the atmosphere in the room undergoes a transformation. The initial shock gives way to a collective introspection, her calmness instilling a gravity that commands attention. The guests' expressions soften, understanding dawning as they absorb the weight of Lila's words. Her disclosure not only clears her name, but also challenges everyone to reconsider their prior judgments. The revelation has a palpable effect, prompting a silent reflection among the guests. Whispers of apology and murmurs of support start to weave through the room, the air charged with a newfound empathy for Lila's plight. Even Brant, his earlier bravado diminished, seems lost in thought, confronted with the reality of his misjudgments. Lila concludes her explanation, a soft yet triumphant smile playing on her lips. The satisfaction she feels is not derived from any sense of victory over Brant, but from the acknowledgement and acceptance of her truth. The room, now abuzz with a changed narrative, reflects a collective shift in perception. Lila's honesty not only vindicates her, but also rewrites the story of the evening, leaving a lasting impact on all present. In the wake of Lila's revelation, Brant stands up, his face a mix of confusion and defiance. He demands further explanation, refusing to accept the possibility of a medical error. His voice raises slightly, his eyes darting between Lila and Julie, searching for an inconsistency, a flaw in Lila's narrative. The room falls silent, all eyes on the unfolding confrontation. Lila, maintaining her composure, turns slightly towards Julie, suggesting she might have additional insights to share. Her suggestion is gentle yet deliberate, inviting Julie to contribute without directly accusing her. The guest's attention shifts, the air thick with anticipation as Julie hesitates, caught in the spotlight of scrutiny. Lila steps back, allowing space for Julie's response. With all eyes on her, Julie's resolve crumbles under the weight of the silence. Her confession spills out, a quiet admission of her infidelity, revealing the true parentage of her unborn child. The admission is a shockwave, rippling through the room, altering perceptions and understanding of the narrative Lila and Mark had been accused of disrupting. As Julie's words hang in the air, Lila's expression softens. Her initial anger at Brant's provocations transitions into a more complex empathy, understanding the depth of betrayal and pain present in the room. Lila's gaze meets Brant's, her eyes conveying a silent acknowledgement of the difficult truths they are all navigating. The revelation offers a bitter chance for closure among the tangled web of emotions and relationships. Lila's earlier desire for vindication shifts towards a hope for understanding and resolution. She addresses the room, her voice steady, expressing a wish to move beyond past grievances, her focus on healing and forward movement clear in her demeanor and words. Lila and Mark embark on transforming a spare room into a nursery. Together they clear out old furniture, their movements synchronized in a dance of shared purpose. They stand in the empty room, envisioning its future as a sanctuary of love and laughter for their baby. Mark sketches a layout on graph paper, while Lila browses color swatches, their collaboration a testament to their united front. As the nursery takes shape, Lila and Mark's bond deepens. They spend evenings assembling a crib, each screw and bolt a metaphor for the foundation they're building for their child. Mark carefully reads the instructions, while Lila hands him the necessary tools, their teamwork seamless. Laughter fills the room, echoing off the freshly painted walls, each stroke a symbol of their journey together. In breaks between decorating, Lila and Mark sift through baby name books. Their conversations a blend of excitement and contemplation. They share jokes over the more unusual names and tender moments as they agree on their favorites. These discussions, full of laughter and mutual anticipation, weave a tapestry of dreams for their future as a family. Meanwhile, Brant finds himself in a state of reflection, the recent revelations prompting a journey inward. He sits alone, pondering the web of emotions and the betrayal uncovered. Brant's letter arrives at Lila and Mark's home, its contents raw and revealing. Lila reads it in the nursery, the room's warmth enveloping her. The letter, heavy with remorse and hope for forgiveness, signifies Brant's first step towards reconciliation. Lila considers the words carefully, recognizing the effort it represents. In this moment, the potential for healing becomes tangible, marking a pivotal point in their intertwined stories. In a room filled with warmth and soft light, Lila and Mark welcome their baby into the world. Their closest family and friends gather, sharing in the couple's overwhelming joy. Laughter and tears mingle as everyone takes turns, holding the newborn, their expressions reflecting the profound love and happiness that fill the room. The baby's first cries are a melodious promise of new life and beginnings. This moment of birth not only brings a new member into Lila and Mark's family, but also symbolizes a fresh start. The couple stands by the nursery window, watching the sunrise with their baby cradled between them. They speak softly of hopes and dreams, their voices filled with excitement and wonder about the journey ahead. The dawn light bathing the room underscores the renewal and endless possibilities that lie before them. Brant, alone but introspective, takes a walk through a quiet park, reflecting on the recent upheavals in his life. He sits on a bench, jotting down thoughts and goals in a small notebook, a tangible manifestation of his commitment to change and growth. His solitary figure, against the backdrop of the setting sun, marks the beginning of his journey towards self-discovery and redemption. As Lila and Mark adjust to parenthood and Brant navigates his path of self-improvement, their lives continue to unfold with newfound purpose. Lila and Mark's home is filled with the joyous chaos of a growing family, while Brant finds solace in volunteering, helping others as a way to make amends and build a positive future. Their separate journeys, enriched by the lessons of forgiveness and growth, lead them to contentment. The story of Lila, Mark, and Brant closes on a note of optimism. Each character, having faced and overcome their respective challenges, looks forward to the future with hope. Lila and Mark, embracing their new roles as parents, celebrate the love and unity that have seen them through their journey. Brant, walking a path of redemption, finds peace in the knowledge that change and growth are always possible. The resilience of the human spirit shines brightly as their narratives continue to unfold, each moment a step towards a hopeful and fulfilling future.